Hello again. This is more of a personal journey that I'm going to take you guys on me with, or with me. This is the cemetery where my Aunt Ruth and Uncle Ernest are buried, and also my grandmother Eva. I have never been here before. I didn't even know that this is where they were before this morning. And yeah, so I'm hoping go through here. My Aunt Ruth might be buried over there with her husband Ernest. But I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to see if I can find their markers. How old this cemetery is, I really don't know. I mean, there's Civil War vets here. Those stones there that are encased in the fence look pretty old. Here's a really old stone laying down on the ground. 1862 when they passed away. Looks like a Crawford. 96th PA Infantry. I can't tell if that's an Uhler, U-H-L-E-R. First I thought it might be like David Miller, but that doesn't appear what that is, like an Uhler. Julian. It looks like he died 1862. It was 1804 to 1862, so these look a lot older than they actually are. I sort of wonder if my great-great-grandfather Brown was buried here, but I'm not really sure what his first name was, or even when he passed away. As I know, my dad really adored him. He was really good to my dad. He also told my dad when he first met my mom before they got married, he took one look at my daddy. He said, "You better not mess this up." He said, "You found yourself a good woman." He said, "You better take care of her." And yeah. Probably a number of the boys that were on that monument are buried here. I know Arthur Lengel's actually buried over at the Gettysburg National Cemetery. When you go into where the Gettysburg Address was given, you go left, and he's right along the fence. I remember that pretty clearly. My dad took us to see his marker. A lot of bars, B-A-R-R, shuts. And on the Eva Miller, my grandmother, my dad's mom, I know exactly what the stone looks like. She passed away in 1975. She actually had a cancerous brain tumor, and towards the end she wasn't comatose, but she wasn't really that responsive. And I remember my mom telling me that I love that there, "In my Father's house are many mansions." They had just found out that they were pregnant with my sister, and she had really loved on my foster sisters, Donna and Sandra, and just absolutely adored them, and wanted grandchildren so badly. And when they told her, because she was non-responsive, they said, "Hey, we're pregnant, we have a child on the way, and It's a girl. And she came out of whatever it was, her not being able to communicate, and she said very clearly, "Congratulations." These are two really beautiful stones. And she said very clearly, "Congratulations," and that was the last time that she spoke. And but she was apparently just a beautiful and sweet lady. Like I said, my dad absolutely adored her. You know, his relationship with his dad was pretty bad, and his mom meant the world to him. And I know he was devastated when she passed away. I am assuming somewhere in here, this is where my Aunt Ruth and Uncle Ernest. I don't really remember much of my Uncle Ernest because I think he passed away from a heart attack. I believe it was 1985 roughly. So I vaguely remember him, but I know he was a good guy. He also served, I believe, in World War II. He was in the Army. I think we're gonna go back down because this up here looks quite a bit newer, and they would not be in there. Even though my Aunt Ruth just passed away in 2020, she's buried with Ernest, her husband. So, oh, here's my grandmother, and that's her dad, Irwin. Didn't know his name before then. Carrie was her mom's. So that's my great-grandfather Brown. A lot of stories about him. He took care of honeybees. He's a good man. He lived right here in Ravine. And then that is my grandmother. I never got to know her. My mom said she would have absolutely adored me and Debbie. But yeah. So let's try to find my Aunt Ruth. So one of those things that's sort of sad that my Aunt Ruth, that after my dad passed away in 2011, we hadn't been able to get together for a while because his life out there's Ernest, but I know there's a stone with him and Ruth on it, so I want to find that. But that's his military marker, my Uncle Ernest, 1984. So I would have only been almost 5 years old at that stage. Well, I would have been almost 4 actually. Oh, I'm right here, actually. Yeah, that's my Aunt Ruth. It's one of those things. It's a little bit of, let's say, regret that I wish I had. The 10 years had been pretty rough, and wish I had been out to see her again and let her know how I felt. I loved her, and it's one of those things that I guess a lesson from it is encourage everybody to, spend time with those that you love. Don't put things off, no matter the circumstance, because once they're gone, they're gone. And Aunt Ruth, we don't forget you and we love you. you never know how much time you have on this earth. And it's, you know, if anything was a lesson earlier this year of, you know, almost dying myself, you know, you realize how precious life is, and don't let those opportunities pass you by. If there's an issue with somebody, because that was one of the things my dad had with his dad, that he major regret that he didn't make his peace with his dad. Thankfully, I was able to make peace with my dad and tell him that I loved him and meant it, and same with him. But a lot of people don't get that chance. You know, it's path of bitterness and anger is sometimes easier, you know, than taking account and saying, you know, regardless of the situation, try to make the best of it and make peace with those that we know and love. Sometimes it's not possible depending on what happened, but for yourself and for your own peace, it's important that we do that. And I'm glad I was finally able to come out here and see my Uncle Ernest's grave, see my aunt's grave. She just passed away last year, May 28th. And I sort of thought that might have been the case, because she, they had taken her off. She had been an organist for, it's like 50 to 70 years, whatever it was. It was a long period of time. And I've always wanted to see my great-grandfather Brown's, and I always wanted to see my grandmother Eva's grave. Next, I want to get to visit my uncle, or no, my grandfather and grandmother Walburn's grave in Millersburg. We went out there with my mom one time and we weren't able to find him, but my uncle Doug was able to help me with a bunch of information that should help me when I get out to Millersburg to be able to find my grandpa Elmer and grandma Helen's grave sites, just to visit that and show my respects. And this is life. I mean, there's a finality to it. There's a beauty to it. You know, we don't let these things pass you by, because it's too late when you have to visit their grave and weren't able to say goodbye the way you wanted to. But don't want it to be a downer video, because I loved my Aunt Ruth. We had a great relationship. But it is sad. But anyway, so we're gonna go, and I think we're gonna do that video of going over the mountain and back again. And we'll take you on the next adventure, and we'll see you about town. Thanks, everybody.